I'm pleased to say I'm joined by one of the debutants in the World Matchplay this year, Mike Dedecker. Thanks for the time, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And we're talking only a few hours after the draw was made for Blackpool. You've drawn Joe Cullen in the first round for your debut. Did you watch the draw? What was your reaction when you found out?
No, I didn't watch the draw at all. I got a message from my manager with a picture of the draw. It's a fun game. It's going to be a fun game. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll come back to the match play later, but it's been a little while since we had you on the show back in November 2021, just before you made your Grand Slam debut that week. Didn't go according to plan for you, but what did you take away from getting those 3 games up on stage in front of the cameras?
It was a learning curve. I was so happy that I qualified, and I think the pressure got too much of me. Didn't know how to handle all the media attention and the boom in Belgium is like there's a lot more people watching dogs now, and they're expecting a lot more. That didn't happen before the 3 years that have been passed now. So yeah, but I'm getting over it, and I'm more used to playing on stage and in front of crowds and cameras and the attention. So it's all the little things. They help with the development of my game on stage. So
yeah, definitely. And want to come back to that point you made about the boom of darts in Belgium, but a few weeks after the Grand Slam, it was the last chance qualifiers to get to Ali Pali. You narrowly lost out in that final round. You would end up getting a late call up to play in the tournament, but when you lost out in the qualifiers, how tough was that time before the call up, thinking that you would have to go back to Q school?
That was hell, because well, to be honest, I missed so many doubles in that game. So if I should have easily won it, and then you lose, and then well, at that point you're thinking, yeah, that's it, I have to go back to Q school. So, but then I think 5 minutes after my game, I got a message from a good friend saying, yeah, you're first reserved for the Worlds, and that was when the pandemic was still going on. So yeah, you start thinking like, well, people from other countries, maybe they have problems or get corona, so you're kind of hoping that someone drops out, but then if you hope too much, it's not gonna happen. So yeah, it was a nervous time then. I was glad that I got a phone call on the 6th of December.
Yeah, you get that call up, the news that Charles Losper, the South African qualifier, wouldn't be able to make it to the tournament. You were going to be his replacement. I'm guessing you've not experienced a range of emotions like that, from being in hell, as you called it, to then the joy of being involved in that tournament, and as a result getting to keep your tour card. Yeah,
because it was funny though. I was thinking if I get to Ali Pali, just the first round, then my tour card was secure, but it wasn't. But I didn't know, and then I played my first game, and I won it. And then my manager told me, yeah, now your tour card is safe. So I'm glad that I thought that my tour card was safe, because otherwise I had too much pressure on that one game.
Definitely. And your debut at the World Championship, that was the year before, when there were no fans there, and you said to us last time that you wanted to experience it with that full crowd. So what was that moment like, walking out at Ali Pali with the full crowd and playing on that stage?
Yeah, it's a brilliant feeling. It's the one tournament that everyone really works at. If you're not in the Worlds, you're not really a part of that's how I feel, then you're not really a part of the professionals. Because like there's 96 players playing in it, and you have 128 tour card holders, so if you're not in that one, then it's a big miss in your year. So yeah, well, it's a good feeling playing there, knowing it's the biggest tournament in the world. Everyone's watching it. So that's the one you really want every year.
And I'm sure you would have liked to have been the one that did it, but your opponent in that first game, Darius Lewandowski, throwing the 9-darter against you. What do you remember about that?
I was thinking if he's going to keep this up, then I got no chance. But then off stage. We both went off stage, and in the backstage area, he said, there's so much adrenaline going through my body now. I wish I didn't hit the 9-darter. And I was thinking, if he's not going to control the adrenaline and his nerves, then maybe his level is going to drop down a bit. And that's what it did, and mine went higher. So.
And as we mentioned, you end up keeping your tour card, you get into that top 64, and we'll come on to this year in a moment. But one of the highlights from last year, 2022, it's got to be for you playing on the Euro Tour in Belgium and getting a win on that stage. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, that was massive. The crowd was so respectful. They did it again last time it was in Belgium this year. It's a brilliant event, playing for your home crowd, and then them being respectful and showing like to the rest of the world how crowds can be, because it's not always like that. Is something that I enjoy as a Belgian myself.
Yeah, you should definitely be proud of the crowd. Something that we've spoke about on the show is how good they are in Belgium. And back to yourself, the back end of last year, we saw you start to go on some deep runs on the Pro Tour, a quarter-final where you averaged 113, but it was only enough to win 2 legs against Josh Rock. How do you process a game like that when you've played at such a high level and not won it?
Well, I didn't really do much wrong that game. He was just the better man. Then you can only shake his hands, say congratulations, and move on. You always want to win, but if you lose and you play a game like that, there's not much you can be disappointed about or angry about. So it was a good game. Yeah, that's it really.
Well, not long after that, you went even further on the Pro Tour, getting to a semi-final. You were back at Ali Pali as well at the end of last year. You picked up another first-round win. But for players not in the World Series or the Masters at the start of this year, what is that long break like before you play in the Pro Tours again at the start of the year? Do you do anything differently during that break, or more hours on the practice board? Did you do anything else?
Depends. Usually after the Worlds, I don't pick up my darts for like 2 or 3 weeks. Just take a little break, and then I start practicing again.
Well, let's get on to this year, and another milestone for you ticked off, making your first Pro Tour final. And I was looking back at the run that you had that day. You won 4 last leg deciders on the way to making the final. So how proud were you to break that new ground, get to the final?
Yeah, well, that was a brilliant day. I had a tough draw as well. Luke Humphreys, Geraint Price, then Niels Sonneveld, who's a steady and good player on the Pro Tour as well. And then the final I got cross, and it was such a long day. I was so tired, and then the whole thing around my first final. So I was glad that I was in the final, that I reached my first final, and then a bit sad that I didn't play anywhere near I did all day.
Well, that final helped you on the race to the World Matchplay. It's a lot different race compared to the Grand Slam, where it's just the one-day qualifier. This is based on performances for the last 12 months. So at what point did you start to take notice of that you could maybe qualify? Was it after that run to the final in May, or was it something that you've had your eye on for a while?
Well, to be honest, I was in the top 16 of the Pro Tour for the match play from the beginning of the year, because I had a good end of last year, and I started this year somewhere around spot 10, I think, or spot 9, and I've always, all year long, I hung around there. I dropped a spot, went up a spot. So I was thinking, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'll be safe. And then I'm luckily that when I did 2 European tours this year. One was a call-up for Riesa, and I got to the 3rd round, and then 2nd round in Prague, so that helped a lot. Yeah,
you mentioned those 2 Euro tours this year. One of them, I've got to mention, you picked up a win against the world number 1, the world champion, Michael Smith as well. How special was that win for you?
Well, I've beaten him before, so special. You know, I've come in a point that I'm not really afraid of anyone anymore. I know what my level is, and if I play my best darts, I know I can beat anyone. So really special, yeah. It's always nice winning against someone like Michael Smith or top 10 players, because I'll always be the underdog. So that's why it's nice, but I know that I can beat him regularly, so.
That's fair enough. Well, this past weekend, it was the last event before the cut-off for the match play. Your spot was confirmed after the draw was made, I think. So was it nice to sit back and relax at the weekend, not have to keep an eye on other results like your fellow Belgian Kim Huybrechts, who got that last spot on Sunday?
Well, I've been relaxed for a while. I've been relaxed after the last ProTours, to be honest, because spot 17 was 8,000 behind me. So, and I was spot 12, so there had to be a lot going wrong for me for not to be in the World Matchplay.
Definitely, and you touched on it earlier about the growth of darts in Belgium, more coverage on TV. You've got the Euro Tour event, which is now well established this year in the match play. Yourself, Kim, Dimitri van der Berg, a record 3 Belgian players in the field. What do you think that says about the strength of Belgian darts right now?
Well, we always had good Belgians on the Pro Tour with Kim and then Ronnie, who was a top 32 player once. Then Dimi came onto the Pro Tour and started doing good things. So we always have, but now there's just more recognition in Belgium, and so yeah, I think that's the only difference, that people now know what everyone's doing, and like what you have in England, if Michael Smith walks around, he'll get noticed, and that's what we have in Belgium now as well.
Good to hear. And we had Kim on the show a few months ago after he won his title, and he talked about the idea of maybe one day bringing the Premier League to Belgium. Some people have said, why not a World Series event or a TV event? Where do you see the next step for growing darts in Belgium? Is it through another PDC event, or is there more that can be done maybe at a grassroots level?
Yeah, I definitely think they can up the game in Belgium, not only a European tour, but that they can look at maybe, like you say, World Series or a Premier League night. They tried the European Championships a couple of years back in Hasselt, but that was before the big boom. So I think if they do it now, it would be a much bigger event than when they did it before. So yeah, I think the PDC should definitely look at that.
Let's hope so. Well, a few more before we let you go, and let's get back to you. And as we've said, it's a debut at the World Matchplay for you, but before then you've got 2 Players' Championships at the start of next week. How good is it to have those 2 events first, as by the time you play in them it would have been around 3 or 4 weeks since your last PDC event?
Yeah, it's definitely good. You can have a look at form, back to playing competitive darts. It's a good warm-up to the World Matchplay, yeah.
And you've played at some special venues in darts already. The Winter Garden's another one that you're going to be ticking off very soon. It's the 30th year of the tournament. It's held in high regard in darts, just behind the World Championships. What does it mean to you to have qualified for this event for the first time?
Yeah, it's a massive achievement. It's a really hard tournament to qualify for. It's where careers can get a big boost. Look at Dimitri, he won it a couple of years and now he's a top 10 player. So I'm not saying I'm going to win it, but it is possible with those tournaments that you go up in the rankings a lot. So
we shall see. And just lastly, I'm sure a lot of the focus is on the Pro Tours next week, the match play, but what are the goals for the rest of 2023 now? Is the focus going to turn to maybe the World Grand Prix, or have you got your eye on something else, a first Pro Tour title, getting to a certain position in the rankings? What's the goals for you now?
Well, my main goal from the start of the year was trying to get in or as close to the top 32 of the world. So that's the main focus. I'm glad that I qualified now for the World Matchplay, but it's bonus to the main goal that I've set for myself. Same at the Grand Prix. If I will be able to qualify for that, again, it's a bonus. And then it's just helping me getting to my main goal, and that's getting a lot higher in the rankings.
Well, if you keep qualifying for these major events, that goal of getting in the top 32 it's not going to be too far away. Mike, it's a pleasure to chat to you. We appreciate the time and wish you all the best with that debut at the World Matchplay.
Thank you for having me.